Can you just summarise, what your perspective is on the refinancing wave?
Well, I think everyone realizes that there's a refinancing wave, and this refinancing wave is not going to go away anytime soon. There's a lot of outstanding debt out there, both in the CMBS market and in the balance sheet on the balance sheet of the banks. For us, we can sort of estimate the CMBS arena, but I don't think anybody is able to estimate what's on the balance sheet of the banks, what they have to get rid of, and what they need to get rid of. The capital constraint requirements of the banks are increasing, which doesn't help ease the problem. It makes the problem more difficult. So I wouldn't go as far as saying it's a wall. I would probably say it's a wave, because it's just going to continue. And the difficulty is that as more product comes to the market, there's going to be more refinancing requirements, and you're going to have the refinancing of the banks on the other side, and they're both going to hit each other at some point in time where it's just going to fall down, and it's very, very difficult to estimate how deep that fall will really be.
Okay, so moving on to your speciality of CMBS and as a special servicer of CMBS, how are you dealing with the lack of ability to refinance? How are you actually looking at loans which are coming due? What is your criteria for either agreeing to some form of extension or going down some enforcement strategy?
Well, let me talk about the extension first. I mean, from a servicer's perspective, we are the lender of last resort. So if we are extending a loan, we have to be able to get something back for the lenders. And there has to be an exit strategy at the end of that extension. So just to extend and pretend that the problem will go away is not an option. I'm of the philosophy that if I say that I agree to an extension, that at the end of that extension period, whether it be 1 year or 2 years, then there's got to be a refinancing proposal on the table, or that extension could be combined with a deleveraging strategy of the portfolio, which means at the end there will be no more debt. But what I will not accept is an extension period where I will have debt at the end and no one knows how to pay it back. So that's not an option. Then you get down to what type of strategies we look at. I mean, the strategies are market standard and pretty obvious. There's you can enforce or go into insolvency. You can, if you have a borrower that's cooperative, you can work with the borrower to deleverage the portfolio to a level that it's refinanceable. In some cases, you have to write off some debt. It's the worst case scenario, but for us, it's about NPV. So we look at the net present value, the time and cost of money, and try and get as much money back as early as possible on a net present value basis.
And finally, looking at Germany specifically, what difficulties do you have in Germany, say, compared to other jurisdictions?
Well, in Germany, actually, my honest opinion, it's less difficult. I'm finding the German market to be one of the most proactive markets at the moment. One, because there is at least some financing going on. There's a panel going on right now about multifamily housing. As you know, in the CMBS market, there's a lot of multifamily housing. So we're seeing trading of multifamily housing portfolios or multifamily housing assets in general, and those are being refinanced from the bank, which is helping us get rid of things off our books. So you do see things that are trading more and refinancing being done. A lot of it's local. You don't see that in that proportion in other jurisdictions. The Benelux is a very, very difficult market, not only as far as refinancing is concerned, but of the quality of the asset is concerned, or the density of the market is concerned, because you've had, since the 2006, 2007 days, you've had a lot of newer buildings being built. So, a tenant can take the option now of moving into a new building or extending a lease in the old building at a price that may not necessarily be attractive. So usually they'll choose a new building. So I find Germany from a servicing perspective actually very attractive.